Yeah. Once again, we are back. As always, another episode of Fight Court. I'm Dean Thomas, and I got my man alongside me riding shotgun. Look at him, throwing them things out. Ryan Quinn, what's up?
Not much, man. Well, what's up with you?
Well, you know what I'm saying? I'm battling Russians as always.
Yeah. That's the most exciting thing in MMA news this week.
Yeah, so let's get right into that because I'm kind of dominating the headlines. I feel like another time dominating the headlines, battling Russians.
Yeah, why are you trading the UFC light heavyweight champion away? Let's talk about it.
All right, so here's what it is. Just to add some context, it came out this week that I said that the PFL should trade Dakota Dacheva for the UFC light heavyweight champion, Magomed Ankalaev, and then everybody was like, how dare he say that? He should be fired. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an absolute casual. All right, so here's the thing. Let me go ahead and put this into perspective. I've been saying that shit for 2 years. I first said it probably on Sirius XM 2 years ago when Magomed Ankalaev was tearing through the light heavyweight division. And he was running around begging everybody for fights, begging for opportunities. And I said, the UFC needs to just trade him to the PFL for Dakota Dacheva. And no one picked it up. No one said a word about it. No one said anything about it until a year ago. I went on the Casuals MMA podcast. Great bunch of dudes, man. I love those guys. They're a lot of fun. I went on the Casuals MMA podcast, and they asked me about it, or we started talking about it, and we talked about it, and they and I said it a year ago. And this is the clip that whoever refurbished it, this is the clip that they're talking about. It was on the Casuals MMA podcast when I said they need to trade Dakota Dacheva for Magomed Ankalaev. And that was a year ago.
So that wasn't last week. That was a year ago.
It was a year ago when I said that. When he was running around saying, man, I want to fight. They're ducking me. Alex Politan is ducking me. And I said, they need to just trade his ass anyway, because Dakota Dacheva would be much more valuable to the UFC. So then after this came out, everybody was like, oh, how dare he say that they trade the champ? I'm like, dude, I said that shit was a year ago when I said it. So then a couple nights ago, after it came out, I started thinking about it. I said, they probably should still trade him for Dakota Dacheva.
Now than a year ago.
I
think it makes more sense now than a year ago. I think that Dakota is much more of a name, and she would do much more for the UFC now. And I think that there's interesting matchups over there for him as well. But I mean, we'll see. That trade might be even more valid in a week or so.
Right. My whole thing is, now that I'm thinking about it, I go, the UFC would have had much more value in a girl next door, good-looking, blonde-headed white girl who's knocking people out. Ryan, she's 15-0 with an 80% knockout rate.
She's fantastic.
The UFC would have turned her, if she did what she did to Talia Santos, and if that was on the UFC's platform, she'd be a star right now.
Oh.
Like if she was doing what she was, now obviously in the UFC, the competition's a little better. So, but listen, Ronda did it. Ronda came to the UFC, and I mean, not Ronda, but Kayla Harrison did it. Kayla Harrison came to the UFC and starched everybody. If Dakota Dacheva came to the UFC and had a glimpse of that, the UFC would have made her a star. They would have invested so much money into her and would have made her a star. She would have outsold almost anybody on the roster.
Yeah, especially because the UFC women's divisions, they're just begging for new talent now outside of like Kayla and what's going on with Amanda and everything like that. So I totally agree with you with that. And like I said, it makes more sense now than it did a year ago. That's so crazy how people pull up shit from a year ago. Like, how do you find that?
I know. I was like, they might have been. I wonder if they were sitting on this.
Somebody Googling Dean Thomas Russians, and I got a good one.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? I got a good one. I mean, it's crazy. Like at first, I was like, yo, why are you gonna pull that up now? Like no one captures my stuff when I first said, man, dude, when I was on Sirius XM, I was talking for 3 hours a day. So when I was on Sirius, I was talking some cash shit all the time. So you could pull up a lot of stuff from there. And it's crazy because I would say stuff on Sirius and I would go in on it. And then I would say something on a regular, like on Anthony Smith podcast or whoever else, like DC or whatever, or Mike Bond, especially when I be on Mike Bond's joint. I say something on Mike Bond's joint, it turned into headlines. And I'm like, yo, it's just a matter of time, man. Like once people start picking up on this, well, we gonna be in trouble all the time, dog.
I gotta find something controversial to say myself. I gotta have my tagline. Who could I go after?
Man, it's crazy because like I said, I'll be saying stuff, and Anthony Smith used to get it all the time too. Anthony Smith would say
Yeah.
something, and they just dig in on it all the time, and it turns out when it in 6 months or a year from now, it'll turn out they're like we were right all along.
Hmm.
It happens all the time. Anthony Smith, I remember he was saying stuff about John Jones about how like John Jones isn't the best at anyone's skill, and when he said this, man, everybody went in on him like, oh man, how dare you say John Jones isn't the best, and then. Like a year later, John Jones comes out and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not really the best at any one thing." Anthony gets no apologies.
I remember when George was fighting Kobe, and Kobe said something about owing it to George's wife or something like that. And then there was this clip going around. I think it was even on. I know it was on social media. I think it was even on TV. It was this clip going around of George and a girl, and I remember the girl wasn't George's wife. It was Valerie Loretta. It was them at a club or some shit. And it's like people just like to run with shit. It's the craziest thing. Nobody's immune to it. Nobody's immune to well, and then there's people who look for it with their clickbait, like Danny Clickbait Cormier, just
Yeah,
trying
right.
to say things all the time.
Well, none of it doesn't really bother me. Like sometimes, every so often, like you'll get the urge to want to fight back, but then I
Yeah, of
just go,
course.
like at the end of the day, man, these people don't really. I wonder if they don't care all that much. I mean, they do for like 10 minutes when they read it, and then they go on these little rants. But at the end of the day, like by tomorrow, they'll be on to something else. So
Yeah.
it's
Uh,
just it happens so fast.
Social media has just made people, like Mike Tyson says, and social media has made people, what do they say? Maybe the ability to say things without getting punched in the mouth for it or whatever. It's
Yeah.
just people just they're just connected now, and this is their way to be connected, and that's how they do it. They don't care how, whether it's good, but it's like having a crush on the girl for the kid in middle school, or he's mean to the girl, and it's exactly what it is. People just want to be connected. It's so crazy. I was getting really headed into that shit when just I'm like, who the fuck am I arguing with right now? I was arguing in like fantasy baseball chat rooms, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
I
like why are you arguing with these guys?
yeah, yeah.
Well, think about it like this, like back in the day when fans didn't have this level of connectedness and
Mhm.
they would have to go to sporting events, they would carry signs and they would yell at players. And that was the way they got to players or athletes. They would just go to the games and carry signs and yell at them. But now they really have 24-hour access to people to really
Yeah,
just dig in. So it's easier for them to make themselves feel more important.
right. Yep. It's I thought society would get numb to it after a while. That's just never going to go away. I think that just a new generation of people are going to come up and get excited to have connectivity, and it's going to keep going. So
Yeah, I'm
gotta
kind of
endure it.
disgusted by it actually.
Yeah.
I wish I could be more immune to it. It's not that I'm immune to it. I'm just, and I want to be, but I'm a little bit more disgusted and disheartened in humanity because of
Mhm.
it. So it's like, dude, ugh,
Yeah. Like
so
we should go
disgusting.
like would you say that if your mother was around? Like things like that. Like that's kind of how I do it. Or like, would you say this? Like, would I, if I was applying for a job, would I want somebody to see this, or even less than that? Like, because like like could I say this to my sister? Like if
Yeah,
you're angry about something, like that's kind of how I look at it. Like I would never put something absolutely ridiculous, just disgusting language and stuff like that on. It's just so unnecessary, and it goes back to like when people are funny, and and if you curse in your content, whatever. But like if you don't rely on just that foul brash humor nonstop, it's like because it takes a little intellect there. It's that's kind of what it goes towards. It's just be able to connect intellectually instead of just popping off, because like you forfeit then.
I've always had a great admiration for comedians who didn't have to cuss.
Mm.
I actually don't know how they do it. Like
Well,
Preacher Lawson, I don't think he cusses. You know Preacher Lawson?
I don't
Good
think
buddy
I've
of
ever
mine.
seen
Yeah,
this stuff.
good. He's so funny. He was on like America's Got Talent, and he's still touring out. The last I talked to him, he said he was taking a little bit of a break from comedy, but then I looked at his page and he was on tour, so I don't know how long that break lasted, but he's really funny and he's a clean comedian. From I remember I've seen him a bunch of times and he was always clean. I don't know if he changed his ways as he's gotten older, but he was able to pull it off, just be clean. He's very physical comedy, but he's just really funny and really clean. I've always said, and he fights too. He can fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he trains. He's had some kickboxing matches. I don't know if he's had any MMA matches yet, but I know he's had some kickboxing matches and does jiu-jitsu competitions. But Preacher Lawson is the homie.
So do you remember about 20 years ago it was blue collar comedy tour? It was like Jeff Foxworthy and Bill. It was
Hmm.
they were clean from what. Oh, but Larry the Cable Guy, Larry the Cable
Yeah,
Guy.
yeah,
I don't know if he was clean, but they were pretty funny. They were pretty funny. But I mean, let's face it. There's people who curse that are just fucking hysterical. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm not. I'm just saying it's harder,
yeah,
and I have a great admiration for those who can keep
yeah.
it clean. But you put a microphone in Dave Chappelle's hand, and
Hmm.
he has no filter, and he's just obviously the best to ever
Yeah.
do it. I feel
And
so.
that's it. There's a level of genuine genuineness. What's the word genuineness? There's a
Well, you
level
can
of
say authenticity.
authenticity. There you go.
Yeah.
When curses are flying out of their mouth, so that's kind of how I look at it too. So that it's very relatable because I curse every 5 words. So that's how I find it funny.
So, all right. So, what else is going on? I can't remember, man. My
Yeah,
brain is mashed
like
potatoes.
I said Danny clickbait before. Like he brought up how he would like to see John Jones on the White House card. I just don't
Yes,
think I
yes.
don't think he believes that. I don't think he believes that. I think that, especially after when we spoke to Coach Nixick, how Daniel reached out to him and said, "Man, I know what you meant by that, but I got to say these things." I think that that's what he's trying to do there. I don't think he truly believes that, and if he does, I think he's wrong. I don't like that. I don't like that the motion with the media is going back towards Conor and John for this fight. I think that there's some other shit that the UFC could do really well with this card. They don't need to rely on those guys. But I'll give you three fighters that I think should be on the card. What do you think of this whole thing? What he said?
I think that you know how I feel about this, how I feel about the disservice that it does to MMA and all MMA fighters when we feel as though we have to rely on these guys to do something big, because I know that
Yep.
we can do it without them.
Yeah,
But it's the White House. It's the
yeah,
White House. We can do. Like, why do we have to be like, oh, we got to bring Jones and we got to bring Conor in? Ronda's trying to talk about she's falling in love with the game again. I mean, it's just
yeah. Me too. You don't put me on the card.
yeah, and it's such a disservice because it's like you wasn't there when we was riding the bus.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck, man.
You know what I'm saying? Now we at the White House. Now all of a sudden you want to come back and fight, man. What about all the dogs who've been put Diego Lopez on the White House? You know what I'm saying? Put
Yeah,
him in the White House,
yeah.
man. Like,
That's exciting.
just I don't know, man. I'm not that guy who just falls in love with the trends and with the UFC, because I'm an MMA guy. Like, I'm an MMA coach and I'm a MMA advocate, not just a UFC ambassador. I'm an MMA advocate. And for MMA, like, it just sucks that these guys want to come out of the woodworks now because the White House is in effect.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they're gonna sit on the couch and they're gonna do dumb stuff and they're gonna get in trouble and say dumb stuff. And
What if
that's
they
what
do
we're
that
normally
in
talking about
DC?
them for.
What if Connor and John do that and get in trouble in DC on fight week? Like they're partners. Like, can you imagine? Um, I'll tell
The,
you this. Go ahead. Go ahead.
the only way I would really care to see John and Connor come back is if they fought each other.
Oh yeah, I'm totally down with that. Like celebrity death match.
Yeah, just let them fight each other. Just make the weight 205, whatever you want to do. Just let John or just let it be heavyweight. Let them fight each other.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah,
I'm
that's
down
it.
with that.
Anyway, anything there is a circus. Here's the three that I think. Obviously, I think Kayla, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, American. I think Jared Cannonier, he's an Army veteran. He's durable. He's in exciting fights. He should be on that card. And I think Renato Moicano. Why do I think a Brazilian though? I think Moicano because he's always talking about how much he loves this country, but you can really push the American dream with somebody like that on the card. Those are three of the biggest names I think should be on the card. There's so many other people you could add to this card that you could use the White House to magnify them instead of the fighters to magnify the event. Yeah, there's just so much more to do with that. And then just to put on John and Conor, it just takes the legs out from the roster.
That's a good point. Having the White House magnify the fighters, not the other way around.
Mhm.
I was talking to Eric Nolan, who stepped up to fight on 3 days' notice against the guy who fought in Contender Series. You know, the one with the real hard name to pronounce, so I don't feel bad about not
Yeah.
remembering his name right now.
We, don't,
Um,
we messed it up a couple weeks ago.
yeah. So Eric Nolan, he's a Marine, former Marine, and he was like, "Yo, I want to fight on the White House." Like, so like somebody like that, like I was like, "Yeah, man, put him on." Like he fought for this country. That might, to me, honestly, like at some level, that would be a good thing. Like that probably should be a requirement that at some level you had to represent this country in some way
Yep.
to be on the fight. So, by that time, Gable Steveson might be a
Yeah.
UFC guy. So put him
Yeah.
on because he was in the Olympics. He fought for the Olympic team. So
Hmm.
you get guys who were like Kayla Harrison fought for the Olympics.
Yep.
She represented America in the Olympics. If you were a veteran in some way who you fought for this country, you should get a invite to fight at the White House.
Yeah. I'm with that. Because that's the theme of something, especially it's a week before 4th of July. I think that's the way to go with it. Plus, and even let's say some of those people, like granted, we just named a lot of people who could really fight, but some of those people who are a little bit of a lesser level, they're gonna go balls out, bring the excitement anyway. And that's what you need. You don't need the names on this card. I think that you need the story and you need the people who are gonna brawl. And that's what you're gonna attract more with these people that are watching the UFC fight. Because you got us. We're MMA fans. We're gonna watch the White House, whether the fucking UFC White House is called the White House in Mexico. Like when you're bringing in these other people who want to see it that are on the fence of becoming MMA fans. Yes, the UFC supports their veterans, they support their Olympians, and they're supporting the up and comers and those who love. Like there's so much more to do with it. Oh, John Jones, I gotta watch this guy who's always in fucking trouble. Conor McGregor, he's always coked out, getting women pregnant. Like nobody wants to watch that shit.
I would, what fight that I think that would be really cool on there, actually, now that I think about it? If you had Ronda fight Kayla.
I'm down with that. I'm down with that.
Yeah. Had Ronda fight Kayla. That would be a really good fight for the White House.
Yeah, I'm down with that. That's got everything. That's got the star power, the American background,
Yeah.
patriotic background. Yeah, that's a good card. That's a good
Yeah.
fight. Mhm.
But as far as John and Connor go, either my thing is like if you're going to book one of them, you got to book them both because you can't trust either of them, and it'd
Yeah.
probably be better to book them together to fight each other.
Mhm.
But other than that, I feel like you said that the White House should shine a light on the fighters as opposed to the other way around.
That's how I'm sticking with it.
Unfortunately, that's not how
Yeah.
brass thinks. They're going to try to make this as big as possible. Like I would not doubt if they were like, we're booking every star we know. We're going to try to every big ticket seller we got. I wouldn't doubt if they did that, but who knows, man. I know one thing though. I watched this press conference with Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, and it was criminal to say the least.
I thought it was AI when I was watching the standoff. I was like, he's so much smaller than him.
The way we place priority on what's important to us in terms of not me, but MMA fans, boxing fans. We this fight, how is this even happening?
As soon as I saw it, I'm like we discussed this last week. I'm like, oh yeah, the fight's happening. Yeah. And then I saw it. I'm like, what are the rules for this fight? Like there's got to be some kind of special rules, like there was special Tyson rules. Like this is insane. This is truly insane. Like, and where is the fight?
It's going to be here in Florida. They changed it. It was
How
supposed
did,
to be in Atlanta. Atlanta
how did
wouldn't
this get
sanction it, I
How did
think.
it
So
get
it's coming to
sanctioned?
Florida.
How did this get sanctioned? Is Tim Shipman still? He's the head of the ABC now. I wonder if he's still the head of Florida.
But here's the thing, though. Um, it's supposed to be an exhibition. Like it's labeled as an exhibition,
Mhm.
but yet there's still going to be a winner and there's still world-class judges and referee. Like, how is that an exhibition then? Like, how is the
Well,
exhibition part is the fact that they're wearing 12-ounce gloves.
what's the undercard look like? Because then if there's
I,
real fights on the undercard, then you can get away with the rest of the shit.
I have no idea, but I do know that The weight limit is 195. And Gervonta Davis didn't even know that. He thought it was 190. He was like, I thought, he's like, whenever the announcer was like, in a weight of 195 pounds, he was like, no, it's 190. He was like, no, it's 195. Y'all said it was 190. No, it's 195. But y'all said one. I was like, oh my God.
What a mess. What a mess.
And then they did the face off, and it looked like a little, he looked like a little kid.
Yeah.
Like Gervonta Davis last fought at 136 pounds.
He's going to be like freaking a little dumpling in there, like roly poly. He's
Well,
just,
think about that. Think about that. But boxers aren't known to be cutting a lot of weight.
no.
They're
So
not. They don't cut a
he's
lot of
gonna
weight.
have to put on weight. I've never heard of a boxer needing to put on weight, like massive amounts of weight. To That's insane. So then what is it? 187 he needs to weigh, minimum of 180 or one like 184 or something like that.
I don't know. I just know that. Yeah. Like I think it can't be
Or
like
176.
13 pounds. I think it was like a 13 pounds limit that he had to reach. So he's gonna have to weigh a certain amount within like 13 pounds. So if the weight is 195, then he's gonna have to be 182.
He's gonna have to like shove quarter rolls up his ass. There's no way he's gonna be able to. That's insane.
But he's like, what is he like 5'4"?
Jeez.
Man, it's but yet we're allowing this to happen, and everybody's like, oh well, that's boxing. It's the boxing model. And I'm like,
Now we're going in the bad direction. We're officially going. Fighting 60-year-old Mike Tyson wasn't bad enough. Now it's getting really bad.
Jake Paul is wild, man. I don't know how in his right mind he can let himself
If he's doing
stoop this low.
if he's doing this, then he's never gonna get another formidable opponent. If this is what he's doing now, he had the Tommy Fury fight, and then he went sideways. There's really like what? How do you rebound from this?
I
He's got
don't
to
know,
fight
man.
like a George Masvidal next or something. Like that's like he's got to fight someone bigger that's not really a true boxer. Like this,
He'll probably fight. My thought, and I thought that he would do this now, is fight Darren Till.
yeah, yeah, okay, maybe after this shit.
But
Uh,
this really makes no sense to me. Like at some point you got like, yo, this dude is shameless.
how did this come up? Like, hey, who's a good opponent? Like, how did this how did this come up?
And the crazy thing is, my man, like I don't know what the numbers are, but these guys are talking about making like $100 million or something. Like what?
Dude, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on somebody just coming up to with Gervonta Davis in the back of the head. All right, hear me out.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck thought of this?
I don't know, man. It is the weirdest thing ever. I have no idea
Where
who
in
thought this
Florida
was
is
a
it?
good idea.
November, right?
In November 14th.
Where?
I have no idea. My guess would be Miami, but you never know. Like Tampa. I think he fought in Tampa before, so
Yeah, for some reason I think it's Central Florida, West Florida.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just Tampa or Orlando, just staying away from Miami. But it's such a weird matchup.
I'm gonna have to look at the undercard now and see what there's a look for. I mean, I'm gonna watch it regardless, but I hopefully there's some real fights on there because this is ridiculous.
It's probably
And
gonna
like,
be like Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 5.
yeah, yeah. Like even after the Tyson fight, he wasn't like showboating. It's just like it's over. I'm doing like I don't like how do you sell this fight? Like, like I mean it's selling itself, but it's this whole thing is starting, I think, officially lose it. He's got to really have a tough rebound fight after this one, I think.
That's what I'm thinking. I would have thought like after the Mike Tyson thing, he would have been more willing to accept like a real opponent and then like do a couple real opponents and then maybe like, all right, fight a Gervonta Davis in like a legit exhibition where there's
Yeah.
no winner. You're just goofing. Like the Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather thing. Like that's kind of fun, right? Like I'll watch that
That's gonna be Jake's next opponent, Floyd.
probably.
Probably. He's bigger than fucking Tank.
Yeah.
So
Like I don't know how anybody takes it seriously. It's
No, but we watch. We watch the car wreck. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be some good fights. All of Jake Paul's fights have had, or his events have had good fights on the undercard. So
yeah.
hopefully there'll be somebody to grow from it.
So this weekend we have the fights in Australia, Perth, Australia, the main event. Carlos Ulberg taking on Dominic Reyes, the resurgence of Dominic Reyes. What do you think about that?
I like that Dominic is looking better lately, but I still have Carlos winning the fight. I
Do
just
you?
think, yeah, I like that. His counter punching is very, very good, and he
Yeah.
followed up the way he could double up on that left hook, and not even just to knock it out, to set up a right kick or a right hand. I think that it might be too much for Dominic. Yeah, I'm going with Carlos in this fight.
He moved. It's weird. Dominic's a great athlete,
Yeah.
but it seems like Carlos Ulberg moves better
Mhm.
sometimes. And it might just be his fighting movements are better. So it kind of almost seems like that, maybe.
He's kind of tricky. I was
Yeah.
actually studying him a little bit. A lot of people they throw soft or empty kicks to set
Hmm.
up their boxing, or not. No, I'm like they throw like soft or empty punches to set up their kicks. He
Hmm.
does it in reverse. Like he'll throw like crappy kicks to set up his boxing, and it's very tricky. But I think if he could just stick to boxing here, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll win that fight hands down.
Carlos Ulberg gets a title shot with a win.
Yeah, I think so
Absolutely.
too. Absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
the division's been somewhat recycled. This is already Alex's rematch. Nobody cares to see an Ankalaev rematch if Ankalaev loses. Yeah, I think Carlos gets a title shot, especially with the timing.
You think Dominic Reyes gets a title shot with a win?
No, he'll fight loser of whoever wins the title fight.
Yeah. That would be, imagine that though. Imagine Dominic Reyes builds himself back up into another title challenger. That would be a really cool story.
Great story. The
A
guy who
guy who lost to John Jones, who people thought he won.
arguably, yeah,
Yeah. And then he went on this crazy downfall. And then to build himself back up, that would be a crazy story. What a wonderful story that would be.
MMA needs
He's
it.
right there. He's right there.
MMA needs it.
Yeah,
We need
he's right there.
stories.
I'm rooting for him for that reason. I would love to see that story of him being able to rebound, and that would be such a good story to tell your kids.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm with it. But I
Yeah.
still have Carlos winning.
Any other fights on that card are intriguing? That you
Jimmy
think about?
Crute, who is he fighting? That looked like a good card. He's fighting kind of a newcomer. Ivan Urslan. No, he's not a newcomer, but I think Jimmy's going to be doing well in that fight. Um, that's really it. I like Jimmy. Big time finisher, diverse finisher, knockout submissions. What do you think about that fight?
Well, I think Jimmy just underachieves at times.
Yeah.
I think he has a hard time dealing with the pressure. He puts a lot of pressure on himself and
Hmm.
may not always perform to the best of his ability. So just being more frequent in fights should help him. I know he just recently fought, probably not too long ago, but
July, yeah, I think.
yeah, the more he fights, the better I think he'll be, and just hopefully he can get back on the run because there was a time where we thought he was going to be the man.
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
um, but all right, my man, we
We got
gonna we gonna ship up out of here. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. You know we love you guys,
love you
despite
guys.
yeah, despite how you guys might think about us. But if you made it this far into the show, you like us. So yeah, we love y'all. But so if you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. And on that note, this court is adjourned.